You've been walking this path, alone, for what feels like an eternity. The weight of it all bearing down on your shoulders day after day. You've felt invisible, haven't you? The world keeps passing you by, oblivious to the battles you fight in silence. You've been overlooked, dismissed, and underestimated at every turn, as if your existence was nothing more than a whisper in a crowded room. And still, you kept going, didn't you? No one saw the scars you carry, the sacrifices you've made, the quiet strength that has kept you standing when the world had long since moved on without a second thought. They never knew the real you, no, not until it was too late. They don't know the fire that burns inside you or the depth of the storms you've weathered, because all they saw was a shadow, a silhouette, a quiet figure blending into the background. They saw your silence, your restraint, and mistook it for weakness. They couldn't comprehend the battles you fought within yourself. To them, you were just another face, just another name lost in the noise. You were never the hero in their story. They never understood the real you because they didn't care enough to look beneath the surface. But let me tell you something. Those people, those voices that tried to define you, they were wrong. They never knew what you were capable of. They couldn't see the power you were quietly nurturing, the strength that had been silently growing like a seed deep within you. Every moment of doubt, every time you felt like giving up, every tear you shed in solitude, it was all part of the quiet transformation you've been going through. And still, they didn't notice. They never gave you the credit you deserved. I know you've been drowning in frustration, wondering why no one sees you for who you truly are. But here's the truth. The world doesn't deserve to know you yet. They haven't earned the privilege of understanding your worth. They've dismissed you, misunderstood you, and failed to realize that beneath the surface lies something extraordinary. And now, the tide is changing. They'll soon realize that they never knew the real you until it was too late. You've carried this pain with grace. You've walked this road even when no one was there to cheer you on. Your resilience has been your secret weapon, hidden from the eyes of those who never bothered to look. You may have been invisible to them, but you were never invisible to yourself. You knew what you were capable of, even if the world didn't. And now, the time has come for them to face the truth, your truth. So, let this moment sink in. This is the silence before the storm. This is the calm that precedes the awakening. 'Cause trust me, they will know the real you soon enough. And when they do, it will be too late for them to ever turn back. You've been underestimated, but you've always known better. And now, it's your turn to rise, to make them understand who you really are. They've ignored you for too long. Now let them face the consequences of never seeing you for what you truly are, a force to be reckoned with. The world has always been quick to judge, hasn't it? They look at you, your appearance, your actions, and draw their conclusions within seconds. It doesn't matter what you've been through, how far you've come, or what you're capable of. To them, you're just another face in the crowd, easily dismissed, easily overlooked. And the hardest part is that you felt it. You felt the sting of judgment, the weight of assumptions that people have made about you. It doesn't matter that they don't know your story. They never took the time to understand you. They just decided who you were, and that was it. This world is a harsh one when it comes to perception. Society, your peers, the people around you, they all hold the power to define you in a way that feels like a prison. You are a prisoner to their misconceptions, their narrow-minded views, their inability to look deeper. It's a prison built from their limited understanding of who you are and what you can achieve. And no matter how much you try to break free, no matter how many times you prove yourself, they keep locking you in. It's as if the world has decided to hold you in place, frozen in the role they've cast you in. And every time you try to rise above it, you're dragged back down. Flashbacks of rejection flash through your mind, don't they? Moments when you were labeled as lesser, moments when your dreams were laughed at, when your potential was reduced to nothing more than a fleeting thought. Remember the first time someone told you you'd never make it? They didn't believe in you. They didn't see your worth. Maybe it was a teacher, a friend, or a family member. Maybe it was the world itself that told you, in the cruelest of ways, that you didn't measure up. And in those moments, a part of you believed them, didn't you? You started questioning your abilities, your dreams, your worth. Because when the world tells you you're not enough, it's hard not to listen. But let's not sugarcoat it. Let's not pretend that those moments didn't hurt. Let's not pretend that the sting of their judgment didn't echo through your bones, shaking your foundation. They didn't just dismiss your actions. They dismissed your very essence, your spirit, your potential. They called you weak, too fragile, too ambitious, too much of something and not enough of another. They tried to mold you into what they thought you should be without ever asking who you wanted to become. And in the silence of their judgment, you began to shrink, didn't you? Not physically, but in spirit. You began to question your path, to wonder if they were right. You began to lose pieces of yourself to the weight of their opinions. Every "you can't" echoed like a drumbeat in your mind, drowning out the sound of your own dreams. the worst kind of cage, the one that confines your mind, not your body. The kind of cage that makes you believe the lies they've told you. The kind of cage that locks you into a reality you never chose. The hurt of being misunderstood is a wound that cuts deeper than most can imagine. It isn't just about the judgment from others, it's about what it does to your self-worth. How do you look at yourself in the mirror when the world has defined you as less than you are? When they've placed limits on you that you never agreed to? It's soul-crushing. It makes you question your every move, every decision, and your very place in this world. And it's in these moments, when the world has turned its back, that you begin to wonder, am I really enough? But here's the thing, they were wrong. The ones who labeled you as weak, as lesser, as invisible, they were wrong. They couldn't see what you could see. They didn't understand what you understood. They didn't realize the fire that had been quietly building inside you, waiting for the right moment to ignite. They judged you based on their limited view of the world, based on their own biases and fears. But those judgments were nothing more than smoke and mirrors. Their opinions do not define you. You are not the sum of their judgment. You are not the whispers of rejection they left behind. You are not the version of yourself that they chose for you. You are the version of yourself that you choose to be, and you are far more powerful than they ever could have imagined. The prison of their misconceptions may have held you for a time, but the key to your freedom was always in your hands. They never knew you. They never understood you, and that was their greatest mistake. It's time to rise above their judgments. It's time to show them who you really are. There's a war raging inside of you, isn't there? A battle that no one can see, yet it's the one that defines every step you take. It's the one you fight every day when you wake up, and it doesn't stop until the moment you close your eyes at night. It's the voice in your head, the voice that never lets you rest. Fear, insecurity, self-doubt. It whispers that you're not enough, that you're not worthy of success, that you'll never make it. And no matter how much you try to quiet it, it only grows louder. Like a constant drumbeat, a relentless echo in the silence of your mind. That voice, the one that questions every decision you make, every step you take, it's your worst enemy. It tells you that your dreams are too big, your goals too far out of reach. It tells you that you're too small, too weak, too broken to ever achieve anything of significance. And the worst part, you listen to it. You let it fill your thoughts, cloud your judgment, and paralyze you with fear. The more you try to ignore it, the stronger it becomes. It finds a way into every thought, every action, twisting and contorting your perception of yourself and your potential. This is the battle you're facing, the one that has nothing to do with the world outside, but everything to do with the war inside your own mind. You know it well, don't you? The dark cloud of doubt that follows you wherever you go. The overwhelming sense of isolation that creeps in when the world seems to be moving forward, while you're stuck in the quicksand of your own insecurities. You fight an invisible war, where your enemies are the very thoughts that occupy your mind, the thoughts that tell you you're not good enough, not strong enough, not capable enough to make a difference. They're the silent saboteurs that rob you of your confidence, piece by piece. But what if I told you that this war wasn't meant to break you? What if this internal struggle is the very thing that's forging you into something unbreakable? Because you see, there's a power in struggle, a strength in facing your fears. Every battle with self-doubt is a step toward becoming who you were always meant to be. It's the furnace that tempers the steel of your soul. But for now, the fight feels endless, doesn't it? The doubt never seems to fade, the fear never seems to disappear. It lingers like a shadow, always close, always there, waiting to pounce the moment you let your guard down. And when you look around, you realize that others don't seem to be fighting the same battle. While they move through life with ease, chasing their goals without hesitation, you're left behind, tangled in the threads of your own fears. The world doesn't see your struggle, doesn't hear the silent screams in your mind. They don't understand the invisible war you're waging against yourself, and perhaps they never will. But here's the kicker. They don't need to, because your battle, the one that no one can see, is the one that's shaping you into something greater than they could ever comprehend. The more you try to push forward, the heavier the weight of your self-doubt becomes. It's like trudging through mud, each step slower than the last, every inch you gain feeling like a mile of effort. You want to break free from the grip of your inner critic, but it feels like the harder you fight, the stronger it pulls you back. But here's the truth. That voice, that critic, it's not telling you the truth. It's not speaking the language of your potential. It's speaking the language of fear. And fear, like any enemy, is only powerful when you allow it to be. You are not your fears. You are not your doubts. They are the false soldiers of an invisible army trying to convince you that you are less than you are. You are more. You are the culmination of every fight you've fought within yourself, every moment of fear you've faced and survived. But that doesn't make the fight any less real. It doesn't make the pain of being held back by your own mind any easier to bear. The The self-doubt, the insecurity, the fear of never being enough. It's all there, always hovering just beneath the surface. And in the quiet of your mind, it tells you that you'll never be able to silence it. But let me tell you this, you will. You'll never hear it in the same way again because you are already fighting. You've been fighting all along, even when you thought you were losing. And every step, no matter how small, is a victory. The path forward is dark, and the way seems unclear, but you are closer than you think. Every moment of doubt, every second of fear is part of the process. And as painful as it is, it's shaping you into someone unbreakable. Someone who will one day look back and realize that the very thing that almost broke you is the thing that forged you into the warrior you are becoming. The world may not see it now. The world may never understand the internal war you've been fighting, but that's all right, because it's not their fight, it's yours, and you are winning. Step by step, inch by inch, you're moving closer to the person you've always been destined to become. Keep fighting. Don't let the voice of doubt drown out your inner strength. You are more than what they've told you. You are more than the whispers of self-doubt. You are a force, and soon the world will see the true power that's been silently building inside you. There's a moment, quiet and almost imperceptible, when everything begins to change. You don't see it coming. It's like a tiny spark in the darkness, too small to make sense of at first, but it's there. You feel it, a shift deep within you, a stirring of something long forgotten, something that's been waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. This is the moment of awakening, the first glimmer of change. At first, you barely notice it. It's subtle, like a whisper on the wind that you can almost hear but can't quite catch. You're used to feeling trapped, to believing that the weight of your self-doubt, the shadows of your fear, are the only things that define you. But in the stillness, you sense something different. A crack in the wall of your limitations, just enough for the light to seep through. It's not grand, it's not dramatic, it's simply a realization, a tiny flicker of possibility that maybe, just maybe, you are more than your fears, more than your failures, more than the doubts that have held you captive for so long. This is when the shift begins. You start to look at yourself differently. For the first time, you question the narrative you've been living. Is this really all there is? Is this the final word on who you are and what you're capable of? Something deep inside pushes back against that thought. Something stronger, more confident. For the first time in a long time, you begin to wonder if you've been playing the wrong role all this time. You've been the victim, haven't you? The one who was judged, dismissed, overlooked. The one who was told they couldn't, they shouldn't, they wouldn't. But now you see a different possibility. What if it was all a lie? What if you were never the victim, but the hero, waiting for the moment to rise? This is the shift in perspective. The moment when you stop seeing yourself as the one being oppressed by circumstances, as the one caught in the grip of your doubts and fears, and you begin to see yourself as the one who has the power to change it all. The truth, buried deep within you all along, begins to surface. And though it's not fully formed yet, it's enough to make you believe, to make you question everything you've known about yourself, to make you understand that the power you've been seeking is not out there, but right here, inside you. It was never about the world recognizing you. It was always about you recognizing yourself. As this new perspective takes root, you start to see hints of your strength, the subtle moments when you didn't give up, when you fought through the pain, when you kept moving despite the odds stacked against you. Maybe it was a time when you stood up for yourself when no one else would. Maybe it was a moment when you pushed through the darkness, when the world around you was crumbling and you still found the strength to keep going. These are the pieces of your resilience that have always been there, hidden in plain sight. You've shown signs of strength before. Maybe you didn't recognize them at the time. Maybe you dismissed them as small victories, as nothing special. But now, as the awakening begins, you start to see them for what they truly are. Signs of your power, hints of your potential. This is the moment when the tension begins to build. It's like a storm that's been gathering on the horizon, the pressure in the air growing heavier, more electric. You can feel it now, the stirrings of something inside you that's been dormant, waiting for the right moment to break free. It's the kind of feeling that you can't explain. It's the feeling of knowing you're on the edge of something big, something transformative, but you're still unsure, still hesitant, still unsure of how to fully embrace the power that's awakening within you. You feel the surge of energy, but it's almost too much to handle, too overwhelming. But this is the turning point, the moment where everything begins to shift. The energy inside you that once felt like a threat, something you couldn't control, now begins to feel like the fuel that will propel you forward. The stirring inside of you is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. The longer you resist it, the stronger it becomes. And the more you give into it, the clearer it becomes that this is the power you've been waiting for. It's been there all along, waiting to be awakened. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about realizing that this moment, the one you're in right now, is the perfect moment. You have the strength within you to change everything. You have the power to shatter the limitations you've placed on yourself. It's all within your grasp. The key to your transformation has always been right there, waiting for you to unlock it. All you need to do now is trust yourself. Believe in the power that's stirring inside you, and you will trust it. You will believe in it, because deep down you know that this is just the beginning. This is the moment where the true you begins to rise. No more hiding in the shadows, no more shrinking back from the challenge, no more doubting your worth. This is the first step toward your transformation, and it's just the beginning. The first confrontation is always the hardest. You've started to believe in yourself, to awaken to your power, but the world around you hasn't changed. In fact, it feels as though it's conspiring against you. The doubts you once carried, the voices of criticism that echoed in your mind, now have an even louder presence. People, family, friends, strangers, suddenly start to point out all the reasons why you can't, why you shouldn't, why you're not enough. Society, with all its expectations and limitations, suddenly seems like an insurmountable wall. They expect you to fit into their mold. They expect you to be who they want you to be, not who you were born to become. And every step you take toward your dreams, they push back, harder. The doubts start to grow, and the criticisms become sharper. It's in this moment that the confrontation begins. It's not a physical fight. It's the battle of your will against the forces that seek to keep you small. The villains are not always external, not always the people who directly oppose you. Sometimes the greatest battle is the one within your own mind, where the lies you've been fed by society and your own fears resurface with greater force. You're told you're too much, you're too loud, you're too ambitious, or worse yet, you're told you're too little, not enough. You'll never be able to measure up to their standards. The villain is not just the voice of others, but also the voice in your head that tells you, maybe they're right, maybe you don't deserve it. And then comes the darkest hour. It's the point where the weight of all these doubts, all these expectations, pushes you to the brink. The struggle feels too heavy. You're tired. You've fought hard to get this far, but the path seems to stretch out endlessly, filled with obstacles that you can't see a way around. You've been knocked down again and again. People you trusted have turned their backs. The world seems indifferent to your pain. It's easy to feel like giving up is the only option. The voice in your head becomes louder. Why keep going? You're not cut out for this. Look at how far behind you are. What's the point of fighting anymore? Maybe you were never meant to be more than this. But this is where the power of defiance comes in. This is the moment you must stand firm. This is where your story takes a turn, where you realize that everything you've been through, every struggle, every rejection, has only made you stronger. The world wants you to believe that you are weak, that you are nothing. But that is the lie. The truth is that you are stronger than you've ever been. Your power lies in your ability to keep going when everything tells you to stop. This is where you have to make a choice, to either shrink back into the comfort of mediocrity, or to stand up, rise above the noise, and show the world that you are unshakable. There is something magnificent in defiance. When you stand firm in the face of everything trying to tear you down, you show the world your true strength. Your refusal to bend, your determination to push forward despite the odds, becomes a force in itself. You are not defined by the circumstances you face, you are defined by your response to them. And when you choose defiance, you choose to break free from the chains that have held you back. The internal fire that burns within you is the key to this transformation. It's the spark that was lit when you first started to believe in yourself. It's the flame that has been growing, burning brighter with each challenge, each setback. The fire within you doesn't care what the world says, doesn't care about the limitations they impose. It only cares about one thing, your potential. It burns for your dreams, for the vision of who you are becoming, for the life you are ready to build. It is this fire that will carry you through the darkest hours. It is this fire that will push you to keep moving when the road ahead seems impossible. When the world tells you to quit, the fire inside you whispers, keep going. When you feel weak, the fire roars, you are strong. When you face defeat, it burns brighter, saying, this is not the end. The external forces may try to extinguish your fire, but they cannot snuff it out. Your fire is infinite. Your fire is the embodiment of your defiance, your refusal to be anything less than what you are destined to become. You are not alone in this fight. Every person who has ever achieved greatness has faced the same external forces, doubts, criticisms, the expectations of others. But what separates them from the rest is that they chose to fight. They chose to stand firm in the face of the storm, and they let their internal fire guide them. You have that same fire inside you, waiting to be unleashed. You have the power to burn brighter than any doubt, any criticism, any force trying to hold you back. So, when the world tells you that you're not enough, when the voices of doubt grow louder, and when the external forces seem too strong, remember this: the greatest weapon you have is the fire within you. Stand firm, keep pushing forward, and when the storm passes, you'll be the one standing stronger than ever with the world at your feet. The battle against external forces is not just about survival, it's about victory. And you are destined to win. You've walked through fire, you've endured the harsh winds of judgment, the suffocating weight of doubt, and the deafening silence of the world that refused to see you. But now's the moment where everything changes. The struggle has molded you, the pain has refined you, and you stand on the precipice of something monumental. This is the road to redemption, the final step in reclaiming the most powerful version of yourself. For far too long, you lived in the shadows of others' expectations. You wore the masks they created for you. You hid behind the labels they placed upon you, believing their words more than your own inner truth. You let their voices define you, molding you into something you were never meant to be. But now, it's time to shed that skin. It's time to release those false versions of yourself, the versions shaped by people who never truly understood you, who saw only what they wanted to see, not what you truly are. Shedding this old skin is not easy. It's like peeling away layers of armor you've built to protect yourself from the pain of judgment and rejection. But as each layer falls away, you begin to see the truth beneath it all. You begin to recognize the strength that has always been there, hidden beneath the weight of other people's perceptions. And in that moment, you realize something profound. You were never meant to fit their mold. You were never meant to live by their rules. You were born to be your own creation, to stand tall in your own light. This is the rebirth. From the ashes of the past, you rise. You rise not just as a person who has survived, but as someone who has learned, who has grown, who has transcended. The old you, the one shaped by the expectations of others, is no longer relevant. That version of yourself was an illusion. Now you are stepping into the fullness of your truth. You are stepping into a version of yourself that is raw, unapologetic, and unafraid. You've shed your limitations, you've shed the weight of their doubts, and you stand, stronger than ever before, as the person you were always meant to be. The truth is no longer hidden from you. You begin to understand the depth of your potential, the vastness of what you can achieve. No longer clouded by the opinions of others, you start to see your own power. You see it in the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you hold yourself. You start to see how much you are capable of. You start to see the greatness that was always inside of you, waiting to be unleashed. The truth, once veiled in uncertainty, is now clear. You were never the weak, fragile person they said you were. You were always strong. You were always destined for greatness. You simply needed to wake up to it. And now, as you stand in the light of your own truth, you can no longer ignore the vast well of potential that lies within you. You begin to see yourself not as a reflection of others' expectations, but as the embodiment of your own dreams. You are no longer a shadow of someone else's vision. You are the creator of your own reality. This is the moment of transformation. You've broken free from the chains that once bound you, the shackles of others' judgments, their limitations, their labels. They no longer have power over you. You are no longer the person they wanted you to be. You are who you were always meant to be. And as you embrace this new version of yourself, you begin to walk with confidence, with purpose, with the knowledge that you are unstoppable. The visuals of rebirth are everywhere. You can almost feel the weight lifting off your shoulders, like a storm cloud clearing from the sky. You can feel the warmth of the sun on your face, the light of truth pouring over you, illuminating the path ahead. You see yourself breaking free from the chains that once held you captive, stepping into the light with newfound strength and clarity. This is your moment. The road to redemption is not just about overcoming the past. It's about stepping into your full power, reclaiming your identity, and walking forward with the confidence that you can achieve anything. Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, you are reborn. You are no longer a victim of your circumstances. You are the master of your fate. The past, with all its trials and tribulations, has only made you stronger. You are not the person you were before. You are someone new, someone who understands their worth, their potential, their power. And as you walk down this road of redemption, you realize that the journey is far from over. This is just the beginning. What you've been through has prepared you for the greatness that lies ahead. The struggles, the pain, the heartbreak, it has all been the fuel that will propel you to new heights. You've shed your old skin, and now you're ready to face the world as your true, unshakable self. The truth has been revealed, and with it comes the freedom to live the life you were always meant to live. Everything you've been through, the pain, the struggle, the rejection, the isolation, wasn't just something you had to endure. It wasn't just some cruel, senseless chapter in your life. No, it was all part of something much bigger. It was part of the transformation. Each battle, each scar, each moment of despair was shaping you, carving out the person you are today. The suffering wasn't in vain. It was the forge that tempered your soul, the furnace that melted away everything that wasn't true to you. And now, as you stand in this moment of clarity, you realize it. You understand it fully. You weren't broken, you were built. Every time you were knocked down, you were being strengthened. Every time you felt like you couldn't breathe, your lungs were expanding to take in the breath of life in a way that would allow you to breathe deeper, stronger, with more purpose than ever before. All of it, the pain, the rejection, the loneliness, was part of your metamorphosis. You were never meant to stay where you were. You were never meant to remain in that version of yourself that others saw as weak, unworthy, invisible. No, you were meant to rise. Now, as you look back, you see the full picture. You see the person you were, and you see the person you've become. There was a time when you allowed the world to define you. You let their opinions shape your perception of yourself. You listened to their criticisms, their judgments, their doubts, and because of that, you saw yourself through their eyes. You saw a person who wasn't enough, a person who didn't deserve greatness, a person who wasn't worthy of love, success, or respect. But now you realize the truth. That was never who you were. That was never who you were meant to be. You've always had the power, the strength, the courage within you. You were just too clouded by the noise, too trapped by others' projections to see it. But now, the fog has cleared, the storm has passed, and the sun is shining brightly on the true you, the one you were always meant to be. You can't help but feel the weight lift off your shoulders, the burden of others' opinions, the crushing weight of their judgments. It all falls away, and in that space, you feel an overwhelming sense of liberation. For the first time in your life, you are free. Free from their expectations, free from their limitations, free to be the person you've always known you could be. Free to stand in your power without fear of what they might think. The moment of clarity is like a storm breaking. You've been battered, torn apart by the winds of doubt, tossed around in the waves of uncertainty. But now, the clouds part, the sky's clear, and in that light, you see yourself for who you truly are. You see your strength, you see your resilience, you see your worth. And suddenly, everything becomes clear. All the suffering, all the hardship, it was all necessary. It was all part of the process that led you to this moment. And now, you stand tall, unwavering, with the full realization that nothing can hold you back. You have no more fear of judgment. You no longer care about how they see you. Their opinions don't matter anymore. You are the one who defines yourself now. You are the one who gets to decide who you are, what you're capable of, and how far you'll go. You've realized your strength, and nothing, not one single thing, can take that away from you. The visual metaphor of this moment is powerful. It's like watching a storm clear from the sky. You've been living in darkness for so long, but now the clouds begin to break apart. The sun breaks through the cracks, casting light on everything it touches. The landscape, once shrouded in shadow, is now bathed in warm, golden light, and you stand in that light, fully aware of your own brilliance. You are the sun in your own sky. You are the force that pushes the storm away. You are the clarity in the midst of chaos. And in this moment, you realize that your power has always been within you. You just had to see it for yourself. This is the moment when you claim what's rightfully yours. This is the moment when you realize that nothing can stop you. Not your past, not the opinions of others, not the limitations they've tried to place on you. You are limitless. You are invincible. You are everything you've ever dreamed of being, and more. And this is just the beginning. The storm may have passed, but your journey is just beginning to unfold. You are no longer the person you once were. You are stronger, wiser, and ready to face whatever comes next with unshakable confidence and undeniable power. There's a moment, just before the final test, where everything hangs in the balance. You fought through the storm, emerged stronger from the flames, and now comes the ultimate confrontation. The past, all those people and situations that doubted you, that looked down on you, are standing right before you. The ones who called you weak, who told you that you'd never make it, who tried to define you by their limited perception. They thought they knew you. They thought they had you all figured out. They thought they could box you in, keep you down, bury your dreams under their judgment. But now, they're about to see what you're really made of. This is it, the final test. The moment when everything you've worked for, everything you've fought for is laid bare. It's a test of endurance, of will, of heart. And you stand at the edge, staring into the eyes of the people or circumstances that have tried to hold you back. For so long, you believed their lies, took their words to heart. You thought their opinions mattered, that their rejection was a reflection of your worth. But now you know better. The truth is undeniable. Their doubts never defined you. Their judgments never held power over you. They never saw the real you, not until this moment. And now they will. You're standing at the precipice, facing the moment that will define you once and for all. It's a test not only of strength, but of resilience. A test of your will to rise against the world that once pushed you down, And as you face this challenge, there's a fire in your chest, a fire that has been waiting for this very moment. You have been forged by the pain, the rejection, the struggle, every tear, every setback, every failure. It all led you here. It all led you to this moment, this defining moment where you must prove to the world who you really are. The challenge ahead isn't easy. In fact, it may seem impossible, but you've come too far to back down now. This is the final push. It's the last leg of the race, the last stretch of the battle, and you have everything within you to crush it. You've been through the worst of it, and now you're about to see the fruits of your labor. You'll push yourself past your limits. You'll rise higher than you ever thought you could, and you'll prove not only to the world but to yourself that you are everything you ever dreamed of being. You are the person they doubted. You are the person they thought was weak, but now you're the person who stands tall, unwavering, with a strength they could never have imagined. Victory isn't just about the world seeing you for who you are. It's about you seeing yourself for who you really are. It's about realizing that everything you've been through, all the pain, all the suffering, has been a part of your transformation into someone who is unstoppable. The victory is not in the applause of others, but in the knowledge that you've proven your worth to yourself. You've taken everything they threw at you, every insult, every rejection, every failure, and used it to fuel your rise. And now you stand victorious. And as you stand there looking around at the people who once doubted you, you realize that their opinions no longer matter. Their judgment no longer has power over you. You are in control now. You are the one who defines your narrative. You are the one who writes your story. The world may have tried to tell you who you were, but now you are the one who decides. You are the hero of your own story, and no one, not a single person or circumstance, can take that away from you. The world finally sees you for who you truly are, and now they know. They know the strength you've always had, the fire that burns inside you, and the power that was always yours to claim. They never saw it before, but now they can't deny it. Your power is undeniable. Your resilience is unquestionable. You are no longer the person they tried to push down. You are the person who has risen, and nothing will ever break you again. You stand tall, unshaken, unbroken. You stand in your power, and in that power you are in control. You control the narrative. You control your destiny. No one else can define you anymore. No one else can hold you back. And as you stand in this moment of victory, you realize that this is just the beginning. You have overcome everything they said would break you. You have proved to the world that they were wrong about you. And now, you're ready for the next chapter. You're ready for whatever comes next, because nothing can stop you now. You have everything you need to succeed. You've already proven that. And the world is about to witness what you're truly capable of. The moment of transformation has arrived. Everything that you've endured, everything you've fought for, has led you here. You've stepped into the light, shed the skin of doubt, fear, and uncertainty. No longer are you the person who hides in the shadows, afraid of the judgment that used to define you. You have risen, and now you stand in the fullness of your power. This is your final rebirth, the moment when you are no longer shackled by the chains of fear and insecurity that once bound you. You've stepped into your truth. No more pretending, no more wearing masks. You are who you are, and that is more than enough. The world may have doubted you, dismissed you, and misunderstood you, but now you stand tall, proud, and unyielding. Every part of you that once questioned your worth has been silenced. The insecurities that once held you hostage have been replaced by a fierce confidence that radiates from within. The change is undeniable, not only within yourself, but in the way you now interact with the world. People who once underestimated you now see the strength you've always had. They see the fire in your eyes, the unshakable resolve in your stance. Where once you may have felt small, invisible, and overlooked, now you command attention with your presence. The world bends to your new energy because you no longer approach it from a place of doubt or fear. Instead, you walk with authority, with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing exactly who you are. Your mindset has shifted, and with it, everything around you begins to shift as well. The way you interact with people, the way you make decisions, the way you show up in the world, everything is different. Your relationships deepen because you are now real, unapologetic, and authentic. You no longer settle for less than what you deserve. You've learned your worth, and you expect nothing less than the best from the world. And the world responds accordingly, because you have changed the way you carry yourself, the way you stand in your power. But understand this is only the beginning. The power that you've unlocked within yourself is not temporary, it is eternal. The transformation you've undergone is not a fleeting moment. This is your new reality, and it's a reality that will continue to shape every aspect of your life. The confidence, the strength, the clarity, it's all within you now, and no one can take that away. You have become the person you were always meant to be, and that power is yours forever. But this is not just about you. It's about the world that you are going to change. The ripple effect of your transformation will touch every life you encounter. You will inspire others to rise, to shed their own fears and doubts, to step into their true power. You've become a beacon of hope, a living example of what's possible when we stop letting the world define us and start defining ourselves. Now, I want you to imagine this. What would your life look like if you truly embraced this power? If you took everything you've learned in this journey and applied it every single day, what would it feel like to walk through this world without fear, without doubt, without hesitation? What would happen if you finally stepped into your greatness and owned it? The truth is, you have the power to create the life you've always dreamed of. You have the strength, the resilience, and the confidence to make your wildest aspirations a reality. All the tools you need are already within you. This journey you've been on is just the beginning of something much bigger. The best version of yourself is waiting for you to show up. And that version, that's the person who will change the world. So, I invite you, right here and right now, to step into your own transformation, to shed the skin of doubt and fear, to embrace the truth of who you are and walk in the full power of that truth. The world is waiting for you to rise, and there is no better time than now. This is your moment. This is your time to shine. Are you ready to take it? As we come full circle, remember how this all began. The world never truly knew the real you. They saw the surface, the version of you they wanted to see, the one shaped by their expectations, judgments, and limitations. But that person, the one they tried to define, the one they overlooked, the one they dismissed, no longer exists. You've risen, transformed, and emerged as someone entirely different. You are no longer a reflection of their misperceptions. You are the embodiment of your true power. And now the world is about to find out exactly who you are. This is your moment. Your truth has come to the surface, and it shines brighter than anything they could have ever imagined. All the doubts, the whispers, the judgment that once held you back, those voices no longer have any power over you. You are no longer the person who hides in the shadows of others' opinions. You have stepped into the light, and the world is watching. But here's the truth. They will never fully understand you until it's too late, because you've taken control of your destiny, and now no one can stop you. This journey wasn't just about proving them wrong. Was about proving to yourself that you are everything you've always dreamed of becoming. It's about realizing that the power you've been searching for was inside of you all along, and now that power is unstoppable. You are limitless, you are free, you are defiant. So let the world doubt you. Let them question you. Because the truth is, they don't know you. At least not yet. They will never truly understand the depths of your strength, your resilience, your determination, until it's too late for them to change their minds. But you don't need their approval anymore. You don't need their validation. You've already become everything they feared. And now you walk with your head held high, knowing that the only opinion that matters is your own. But there's one thing left to do. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's time to take everything you've learned, every ounce of strength you've discovered, and channel it into action. You are no longer the person who waits for life to happen. You are the person who makes life happen. Your journey is far from over. This is just the beginning of a new chapter, one where you lead, where you inspire, where you create the life you were always meant to live. So, what are you going to do now? Will you let fear, doubt, and the opinions of others continue to control your path? Or will you take charge of your own destiny and walk confidently into the future you deserve? The choice is yours, and now more than ever, you have the power to choose. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Don't waste another second. Step forward into your greatness. Claim what is rightfully yours. The world has no idea what's coming, and when you make your move, they will be left in awe, wondering how they ever doubted you. You've already proven that you are more than what they saw. Now it's time to show the world just how far you can go. Take control of your journey, walk boldly into your power, and let your story be the one they will never forget. The real you is here. The real you is unstoppable. And now, you are the one who shapes your destiny. Are you ready to show the world who you truly are? The time is now. Walk into your power.